So a week ago, I teased everyone with this little clip at the end of my last video. It was Beardyman, within minutes, having watched me play Cyclone Mage, came up with his own Cyclone Mage deck, but with Mana Cyclone. And I know this has been discussed on the streams of various Wild Mode players, including Ruffle and I think Get Me Out. But this is a deck that Beardyman came up with on his own. Brown Bronzebeard, Cyclone, The Quest, Mana Cyclone, Flame Wakers. It was pretty insane. And the first thing that I do is I ask him for the deck code because I want to try this deck. And this right here is, I believe, version 1 of the deck. This plays Shooting Star, which is very, very good against Odd Paladin, I guess. But if you're not facing Odd Paladins on the ladder, maybe you take the Shooting Star out, because that is one thing that Beardyman is incredibly good at. That is testing and refining decks. Testing them again, refining them again. And he put Frostbolts in. And he says, well, that works a lot better. So this right here is version 2 of the deck. By the way, there is a third version, but that version was released after I had recorded footage for the video. So we're going to stick with versions 1 and 2 in this video, and the idea is basically to kill your opponent with Cyclone damage. What is the ultimate way of doing that? Well, you play Luna's Pocket Galaxy, play a 1-cost Bran into a 1-cost Cyclone into Zola, play the quest, because you'll have completed your quest, end the turn, Brown Bronzebeard will still be on the board, play Cyclone again, and just insane. Right, you'll have buffed up Cyclone via Cult Sorcerer throughout the game, playing those spells in conjunction with the Sorcerer. And that is the basic idea of the deck. But let's not forget there are Flame Wakers in this deck, and there are Mana Cyclones as well. Yeah. Those cards alone can just be game winning. Okay, first game is against a Priest. Now, this is early days for me with the deck. I am somewhat uncertain with what to do. I am fortunate to have Beardyman spectating me. If you ever play a Beardyman deck, by the way, try and get Beardyman to spectate you. It's a good thing. He'll give you lots of great advice. And by the way, it's always great to see your opponents sending you friend requests and then finding out that your opponents watch your YouTube channel and enjoy your content. That's such a positive thing, such a wonderful thing to see. It makes me so happy. What a great community of people that we have within Wild Mode. It's a small community, but it's a wonderful community. Makes a change from getting a friend request and then just being insulted and shouted at. Which I think, for me, happens more on standard mode than it does in wild. Not that I play a lot of standard. I play mostly wild. But certainly, all of the friend requests that I've received in wild recently have been from some very nice people who enjoy the decks that I play and just want to be friends so they can learn more about those decks. It's pretty cool. So my plays are somewhat uncertain here, and what I'm thinking about is when is the right time to go off with all of the cards that I will have accumulated in my hand.
Surrender your will to the above.
And it's always incredibly refreshing to not see a big priest being played. But this looks like Arena Priest, so eventually we will die to the Anduin hero power. So we need to try and kill him before then. Or at least find a way to get an ice block. And so I'm looking at these cards in my hand and I'm thinking, oh, you know, there's 6 damage on board. That's actually quite a lot of damage to be taking every single turn. So I need to do something here to remove either one or both of those minions. I don't want to commit Sorcerer's Apprentice, because that card is going to be incredibly important in conjunction with Flamewaker or Mana Cyclone. So that turn worked out for us. And a slow turn from him. But we've got nothing much to do. Oh, and when Beardyman tells me that he's seen me play a nice turn, that is great vindication.
Not all.
But as I say to Beardyman, I'm really not sure I can win this, except we get Mirror Entity on Prophet Velen. Unbelievable, and that right there could now just be my win condition with this game. Now I go off with Sorcerer's Apprentice, and I need to kill off his Prophet Velen, which I can do incredibly cheaply here. 8 damage, Icelands, feels pretty good. And normally you would keep Zola for Cthulhu. However, having Prophet Velen in your hand, that's pretty solid.
The light has betrayed.
Because of course you know that Velen on board ain't gonna survive. Okay. Let's see what we can get here. These are not great, unfortunately. Effigy has to be the pick, I think, because we can set up the potential of getting something good back onto the board if he kills Velen. We'll see if he plays around Effigy, because undoubtedly he will be targeting Velen. Velen has to die. Or maybe not. Decides to target my face. How interesting. Does that mean he's going to kill me? Surely you'd have targeted the Sorcerer's Apprentice or Zola with that initial 2 damage.
Let me show you the other side.
Unless you think he can kill me, and it looks like he thinks he can kill me. Beardyman says, we may have lethal.
Is someone injured?
Actually, I think my opponent may have lethal here.
The shadows grow short.
Wow. Did he miscalculate that? Did he miscalculate? Because he's left Prophet Velen alive on the board. You don't want to do that unless you know that you can win with lethal, and he was 2 off. And initially I look at my hand and I think, I can't win this game. I don't have the damage. But then the penny starts to drop. I start to realise, hang on a minute, I have a quest in play. I'm 2 spells off. And then I realise, hey, the coin will count towards completing the quest. Okay, freeze our own Murloc. Okay, play the quest.
No, your victory.
And there we go.
Nothing.
Wow, Prophet Velen doing some serious work for us there. Okay, let's head into our next little game. Against a Warlock.
Let the games
And we are
begin.
playing version 1 of this deck, that is the Shooting Star version still. I don't know if this mulligan was correct, but I see the quest. I see a Sorcerer's Apprentice and a Mana Cyclone together. And I see a cheap spell. Seems relatively correct to me. So, let's see what we're up against. That tap doesn't tell us a huge amount. Could it be a Reno lock? Could it be a Darkest Hour lock? Could it be Mechathune lock?
The end is coming!
The end is coming? Okay, that still could be anything. So he's stalling out the initial part of the game. But I'm just drawing cards and gathering resources.
At last, a worthy disciple.
Is Reno lock confirmed? And that makes me, I don't know, happy, I guess? Because you'd think
Do you hear its call?
this is going to be a long game.
Listen closely.
So hopefully we have the time to gather what we need and do our thing with Pocket Galaxy, Bran, Cthulhu, Zola, the quest, and just smash him.
I ain't talking.
Oh dear. Oh, dirty rat. Okay. That's a really mean thing for him to do. Really mean.
Perfect specimen.
Okay, there's Cthulhu. Not really what we want to see. But yeah, if we can build up
Listen closely.
enough damage with Cthulhu, there is a chance that, you know, we can still kill him regardless of Reno.
Void I come.
But we'd really want Cthulhu to be drawn via Pocket Galaxy. Discounted, I should say, sorry, via Pocket Galaxy. So, Apprentice,
Someday I'll be just like you. Let's
and it's
make
buff
magic.
Cthulhu time. We may as well. So we get to go off with Mana Cyclone here. We'll get some spells back to hand. Debating whether to use the Ice Dance. I think we do. I mean, we just want to get maximum value here. I'm going to keep the coin in hand.
Complacent.
Because it could come in handy later.
Who knows what secrets will uncover at last?
Okay, here he goes with that Kazakus value. He's already managed to get one Kazakus potion in this game. So I'm going to get two more. Beardyman clearly very happy seeing the different buffs there. But, yeah, I'm still feeling quite nervous. Especially when I see my opponent getting all of this value from Kazakus. And their health total is still relatively high. So, I guess I've just got to do my best here to clear off some of this board. I mean, obviously we're not going to kill the Void Caller. But to kill some of this board and do a little bit of damage face, just soften him up a bit. And then wait for a bit longer. Okay, continuing to buff that Cthulhu though. That's pretty positive. And again, getting that value from Mana Cyclone working towards completing that quest.
Sparkle.
Okay. Potion of Polymorph will hopefully be of value in this game. Effigy, not so much.
All will serve.
Oh, Skull of the Minari. And Imp Gang Boss? Is this 2016 or 2015 all over again? I can't remember when that card came out. Okay, the quest is complete. And Bran Bronzebeard is in hand. So, can you see the potential here for Bran on turn 9, play the quest, then turn 10, Cthulhu for a ridiculous amount of damage? We could just buff up that Cthulhu a little bit more. We'd have the potential for 40 damage with Bran if we can get Cthulhu up to 2020. But play the quest, because really and truly, who needs Cthulhu here? Because the damage on board is substantial. We throw all of that face, and now we take the ultimate gamble. Arcane Missiles. I think it's time. One of them hits face. And there we go. We did get Cthulhu up to our 2020 target. Okay, next game. This is version 2 of the deck, taking out Shooting Stars and putting in Frostbolts. And I don't know if that mulligan was correct. I kept what was there. I'm going to need to call upon Beardyman once again to give us a short little guide on how to mulligan. We're going up against a rogue here who is seemingly off to a very aggressive start. And against aggressive decks, you need to find Flame Wakers. Flame Wakers, along with a host of cheap spells and a Sorcerer's Apprentice, can really help you stabilise. Oh wow. Things just picked up. Patches shuffled into the deck. This is going to be very interesting. And can you imagine if Patches had charge? Can you imagine? Of course, I am aware that at one point in Hearthstone history he did have charge, and they nerfed him. But he's still played. He's still seen as a powerful addition to a number of decks. And, yeah, that's quite the board state. Okay. So for now, we just continue to stall as best as we can. And that's the best you can do against aggro. Use your spells to take down their minions and stall for as long as possible, and then go off with your Flame Waker turns.
Someday I'll be just
Let's
like
make
you.
magic.
Or your Sorcerer's Apprentice buff Cthulhu turns. 7 patches. Pretty disgusting. We need to kill it. Guess the priority is to go for cheap stuff here that we can play. And in order to protect our Sorcerer's Apprentice and our Cult Sorcerer, we may as well freeze the patches.
Look! You shinies! Look!
Oh, how interesting.
You shinies!
Double Shiny Finder. And I was curious as to which one he would have targeted there, the Cult Sorcerer or the Apprentice. He targeted the Apprentice, which I think makes sense. Means I can't get cheap spells. Now, Luna's Pocket Galaxy. This is a slow turn for us. It was more or less our entire turn. But now we have the potential to draw a 1-cost Cthulhu. That's going to be pretty epic. If we survive up to that point, of course. Because there's a Sea Giant on the board. So, we are actually in a lot of trouble, but thank goodness for Meteor. Okay, quest complete. But we still need to gather our Cthulhu. We still need Bran. Still need these other helpful cards. They're gonna let us win the game. In the meantime, he's putting on a lot of pressure here. Okay, 7 damage including the weapon. I don't know if Frozen Champion is really going to do anything for us here in this game. So, let's take another turn. You see, playing the Time Warp, even when you don't have Cthulhu available to you, can still get you out of some very nasty situations. And as you can see here, it's given us time to draw cards. It's given us time to develop onto the board. And ultimately, will have allowed us to clear his board.
It's coming!
So there may be a tendency just to hold on to Time Warp until you get your Cthulhu, but as I say, that's not always a good strategy.
X marks the spot.
You see, now he has to contend with the Flame Waker and the Emperor, and clearly he feels he can't do it. It's a really sweet win.
Done. Your soul shall be mine. Let the games begin.
Okay, our final game with version 2 of this deck. That is the version that put in the Frostbolts and took out the Shooting Stars. And so we face another Warlock here.
We have turned our
last Warlock game was Arena Lock. This is an Even Lock. So we're going to have to contend with Giants, with Twilight Drakes. And notice that this is the first game where I have not played the quest on turn 1. Because I've realised, with Sorcerer's Apprentice, the quest can cost 0. I could then combo that with a Flame Waker or a Cult Sorcerer. So I am learning, I am picking things up, slowly but surely. But the key thing is that we've been winning with this deck. We've been winning on the ladder at rank 4.
Do
And now he'll see this Cthulhu buff card and he'll be like, what the hell am I playing against? And of course, at the rate things are going, this Warlock may tap himself into an early grave. If his health total lowers enough, who knows, maybe a Cthulhu that hasn't been buffed up significantly could still help us get the win.
Interesting.
So the question, of course, is when do we want to go off with our Flamewaker? Or our Cult Sorcerer? Or Flamewaker and Cult Sorcerer alongside Sorcerer's Apprentice? Okay, happy to take the slow turn there, in the hopes that we get our Brown Bronze Beard and our Cthulhu soon, before our opponent builds up a ridiculous board that just kills us. Okay. I think it's time, because there are 3 big minions on that board. And if we don't do something now, we're going to be taking 12 damage next turn. We're nearly going to be dead.
I serve the fire.
Right, so here we go. Must remember, play the quest. And I'm actually playing Mana Cyclone rather than the Frostbolts. Okay. He needs to kill the Flamewaker, for sure. He needs to kill Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Hey, twerp! Go!
Both of which he can do quite easily. Oh, very easily, and gain health as well. Okay, tap last. And once again, we find ourselves in a very challenging position.
Let's make magic.
We're nearly dead. But we can draw cards, buff our Cthulhu, and we can freeze his board. Feels pretty good. Oh, and we can complete the quest. Question is, which minion do we want to kill? Kill the one with Taunt? Oh, the bigger one with Taunt? Alright. So, it would just be really nice
Shields up.
if we could draw our 1-cost Cthulhu, please. What did that Defile do? Why did he Defile? I'm confused.
Someday I'll be just like you.
But, oh well.
Do you hear its call?
I guess we just blast our way through the board. May as well use
Sparkle.
Cult Sorcerer there to trade. And just need to remember to push that face damage. Debating what to do with the...
This time.
Okay, sure. And here's another win. Feels pretty good. Right, so Beardyman's Cyclone Mage with Mana Cyclone. What do I think of the deck? Well, it can win games, as you've seen in this video with my very small sample size. 7 games, 5 wins, 2 losses. And you can win games when you don't know what the hell you're doing. You can still get those victories, which is pretty cool. So with a bit more practice, I'm sure I could be a bit more confident with the deck and be a little bit more consistent with my plays. You saw versions 1 and 2 of the deck showcased in this video. However, there was a version 3, which Beardyman assures me is, I think, the stronger version. And that is a version of the deck that runs Stargazer Luna. And so that is something that I really want to try out. The thing that makes me most sad, I guess, about playing this deck is so far I've not had an opportunity to play Cyclone. Everyone keeps conceding before I can play Cyclone, and okay, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that is saying that you don't need Cyclone in this deck, that your turns with Flamewakers and Apprentices, or your turns with Apprentices and Mana Cyclones, that those combination turns are just enough to get you to win the game because your opponent can't deal with the pressure created by those turns. And maybe just the threat of a buffed up Cyclone coming down later in the game, having played your Cult Sorcerer and a load of spells, maybe the threat of a Cyclone later on is enough to make your opponent want to concede before Cyclone comes down. Maybe there's a psychological aspect there. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments section below, and I'm sure that Beardyman will answer your questions and provide his usual expert advice. I'm also aware that this deck has been featured or talked about by other Wild Mode streamers, and this deck here, though, is a Beardyman creation. He did come up with it himself, you know, having not looked initially at other Wild Mode streamers. He did come up with this himself after watching me play Cyclone Mage. So this is a Beardyman creation, and it is a deck that he continues to constantly refine, making it better and better. So I'll put the deck codes for versions 1, 2 and 3 in the video description below. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll see you all again very soon for more Wild Mode fun.